This is what the government doesn't want you to know.
You know, the politician that stands up and yells, oh, let's save the little man, let's tax business, and everybody yells hooray. But they haven't figured out that every tax on business is just a part of the cost of production. And the customer winds up paying it when he buys the product. It's a hidden sales tax.
Think about this. While we cheer for the idea of taxing big businesses to help the average person, what Reagan wanted us to know is that it doesn't actually work the way we think. Businesses don't just take that hit. They pass those taxes right on to us. That new pair of shoes or that bag of groceries, you're paying more for them because of these hidden taxes, and most of us don't even realize it. Taxes keep going up, the cost of living is skyrocketing, and inflation is hitting us hard. Why? Because the government keeps spending more than it has, something Reagan said would happen if we didn't start balancing the budget.
Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up, and families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up. That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry.
We're seeing exactly what he warned about. On top of that, our tax system is a mess. It's so complicated that the people with the most money can find loopholes to avoid paying their fair share, while regular folks like us are stuck with a bigger burden.
Did you use that $916 million loss to avoid paying personal federal income taxes?
Of course I do. Of course I do. And so do all of her donors, or most of her donors. I know many of her donors. If she had a problem, for 30 years she's been doing this, Anderson. I say it all the time. She talks about health care. Why didn't she do something about it? She talks about taxes. Why didn't she do something about it?
Reagan called for a simpler, fairer system, and it's clear we still need that change. And here's the kicker. Reagan also warned that too much power is in the hands of special interest groups and government workers, who often decide what happens, instead of the people we vote for. Sound familiar? These groups are still shaping policies behind the scenes while we, the public, are left in the dark. What Reagan said decades ago is still hitting us right where it hurts. It's time we pay attention and fix things.
The bulk of the money that is taken by what are called loopholes are the legitimate deductions with which, if the people didn't have them, they couldn't pay their income tax. Interest on their mortgage, interest on the installments on their car, their property taxes on their home if they have one, and so forth. These are, in politicians' eyes, loopholes. But we ought to have tax reform, and we ought to start by making it so simple that you don't have to hire a lawyer to find out how much you owe every year.
That's for sure. It used to be a little simplified, but not anymore.
Johnny, we live in the only country in the world where it takes more brains to figure out your income tax than it does to earn the income.
Maybe you're right.
We've gotten in the habit over the last 40 years of thinking the government has the answers. There's very little that government can do as efficiently and as economically as the people can do themselves. And if government would shut the doors and sneak away for about 3 weeks, we'd never miss them.